Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, as you know, it is spooky season. So, let's review a brand new series that recently came out for spooky season on Netflix titled Midnight Mass. Of course, spoiler warnings, and let's dive into it. So, Midnight Mass is focused on this small island of people. So, it's a kind of isolation esque type horror series. Um, and there were a fishing village in the past, it seems, but some things happened. So, again, spoiler warning, and let's dive into the entirety of the series. So, the series starts off with this guy who got into an accident with a girl, and the girl dies. And then he went to jail. He was in jail for a few years, and he got off early. And part of his parole is he has to go to this village or back to his home. We find out it's his home. And when he goes home, we find out that there's a boat or a ferry that goes between his island and the mainland. So it seems that this island is a ways off from the main island itself. Um, so that is where the story begins. So he goes home and he's trying to reconnect with his family, it seems. But he's a changed man after that. He doesn't really believe in God anymore or things like that. So yeah. Now throughout the series, as it progresses, we get introduced to new characters. There's a police sheriff on the island who's a Muslim, and his son is a Muslim, and they're the only two Muslims on this island of Christians. So that is a specific dynamic in itself, especially for one of the bigger characters in the series. But we'll talk about that just now. So the series progresses slowly, and we find out that there's one church on the island that everyone goes to, but the pastor of the church left to do something, and it seems he's sick, and he didn't come back. Someone else came back to replace him. So this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so the pastor left, and a new pastor came who's much younger, and it seems that he is doing the job, but there's something off about him. So as the series progresses, we learn the truth about him. But also he has a right-hand helper, Bev. She's horrid. She's terrible as a character. Like, her character is supposed to be hated, and they did that on that. But moving on, as the show moves forward, there's also conflict in this small village, as we learn that the mayor there, his daughter was shot in the back and paralyzed when she was younger because there's a drunk in the village, and he shot her by mistake, and Bev doesn't like him, and a lot of people in this small church-based community kind of has this kind of resentment for each other, even though it seems like they just tolerate each other. Um, but yeah, so we get all of that, and then we realize as the show goes on that there's this big harvest, this big festival, and the drunk guy's dog is killed. We don't know why. We learn later on that Bev was putting out poison to kill rats, and we don't know if she intentionally poisoned the dog or not. But then jump forward a few weeks or a few days, well, a few weeks then, while the pastor is there, and he has a service. And during the service, he starts pouring his own wine for them to take communion. Multiple boys see this. And then at one point, he asks the girl in the wheelchair to get up to get communion. He doesn't let her wheel up to the with her wheelchair. When she tries to do it, he goes up the stairs and tells her to come to get it. And in doing so, oh my goodness, there's a curtain flying. In doing so, she actually rises from her chair and is healed. And everyone considers this a miracle. And this leads into the sheriff, his son Ali, questioning fate in a way. He believes, he is a Muslim, but he believes that, this is a miracle too. So I want to go to this church and see what this is about. How come this works out? But his father is against it because he's a Muslim. And Bev is against his father because she thinks that he is a bad person for some reason. So there's back and forth with the religious dynamic as well. But yeah, We then get the interesting part. So the pastor begins to get sick, have seizures. Um, and in one of those seizures, he dies but comes back to life, it seems. Um, so that's where his story kind of pauses a little bit. Now, back to the main character of the story, or who we think is the main character, the guy who came out of jail. We see he meets his old friend in the village and they start talking, and there's some love there still from when they were younger. She got pregnant, but throughout the series, as they're taking this communion with the special wine that the pastor is giving them, she loses her baby somehow. They don't know why. The doctors can't figure it out either. There's also a lady who has Alzheimer's and is pretty old, and she begins to look younger and regain her memory. But that aside, now we go into the guy. So they form this relationship, and the pastor, when he revives after dying, he starts this kind of AA class kind of thing, or addiction class. So the guy begins going, and the drunk guy begins going after the girl is healed, the mayor's daughter. And in doing so, they form this kind of bond. So that's good. That progresses the story into something interesting. So this leads to the drunk guy whose dog died, and he shot the mayor's daughter, forming a bond with the other guy who came out of jail for killing someone while drunk driving. And when this relationship is formed, he kind of tells the guy that he wanted to see his sister, he couldn't see his sister, things like that. But yeah, now this guy, the drunk one who shot the mayor's daughter, goes missing all of a sudden, and we find out why after he essentially kills him. But he goes missing, and this leads the other guy to going to look for him. And when he goes one night to the meeting spot where the pastor is, this leads to him finding something. And what he finds when he gets to this meeting location at the church is he finds the pastor, but he also finds this big, huge, cloaked figure in there. And it turns around and shoots at him and bites him and begins to drain him. And we find out later on that this figure is called an angel. And this is where more spoilers would arise, so let's dive into that. So basically, this angel is kind of vampiric, and it's been the wine that the pastor has been giving the whole village for communion is his blood. He's been pouring his blood into decanter to give them. And that is why the lady lost her baby. The blood, whatever it is, was still in her, kind of affected the baby. That's why the old lady who had Alzheimer's was able to get young and regain her memory. Same thing with the girl who was able to walk. So we find out the pastor, the young pastor, is actually the old pastor, and we get his backstory now. He went to this area and then got lost in the desert and ended up in a cave, and when he was about to die, the angel saved him. And now he's spreading the word of the angel, thinking it's good. And we find out that he's been slowly turning the entire community into these servants of the angel, I guess, by giving them the blood. And this all comes to a head in the final few episodes where they have the midnight mass, as the title says. And in this service, what happens is the pastor gives them poison and says, if you drink the poison and you die, you'll be reborn. And the side effects of that is, we've seen earlier in the episode that the pastor's skin was burning. So he gives them this, and they have this mass, and they die, and whoever drank the poison comes back to life. The sheriff's son does it, comes back to life. So everyone, a lot of people do it and come back to life. So we'll put a pause on that, because while that was happening side by side, we see the lady who lost her baby. We get part of her story now. So the guy who was the main focus of the series, he went to her and told her what was going on, and she didn't believe him. So he carried her out on a boat to show her what was going on. And he basically sat with her and they spoke, and there was a sunrise, and he burst into flames and died on the boat to show her what was going on. So she went back to the village after that while the math was about to begin to warn her mom and the doctor, and it didn't really work out that well. So the whole math thing begins. So this is where the two stories meet now. So everyone is turned, or most of the village and the people who aren't turned are eaten and fed upon. Some are revived, some are left to die. So yeah, a lot of people are turned. And the pastor realizes that this is wrong, so he starts to slowly change his mind on the right and the wrong thing. But Bev is overwhelmed with this power and sense of good in her mind. So she goes batshit crazy and starts directing everything. And this leads to them destroying the whole village, setting it on fire. And it's an island, so they sank all the boats so nobody can get away now. Now, this is the interesting part, because after they do all this, after they destroy the boats, set the village on fire, they have this one shelter for everyone to go in. And this shelter is where they set up beds, they set up things to sleep because they know they will burn in the sun. So we see the lady who lost her baby and someone else and the sheriff set it on fire, destroying it. And now Bev is scared, she doesn't know what to do. She realizes she kinda screwed up. The whole village is screwed up because all the houses burnt, there's nowhere to hide. And the angel attacks the lady who lost her baby. So the baby is gone, and while it's eating her, she takes the knife and begins to slices its wings. And basically sun rises and everyone burns to death and the angel flies away. But there's something interesting to note. While the angel is flying away, the sun is rising. We don't know if the angel dies or gets away. So they could have a season 2, they could not. But while all this is going on, there's so many intercuts with different stories. So we get what happened to the survivors then. So the mayor's daughter, she gets away on the boat with the guy whose name stars his brother. They get away on a boat, a dinghy. We see the sheriff. We're not sure if he's officially dead, but he was injured before, and we see him collapse with his son dying next to him. Bev is killed brutally, and I love it. So yeah, the series ends in a good way. There's a lot going on. I actually left out a lot of details for you all to see it because it's pretty good and I didn't want to spoil. So the story is really good. You could watch it. I think it's 7 episodes. So yeah. But basically the angel seems to be a demon or vampire because it has bat-like wings, it flies, it eats people, it drinks their blood. So yeah, angel. But yeah, all in all, it was a really, really good spooky season series. I think y'all should check it out, give it a look. I would give it 8 out of 10. Really good, really good. I just wished the main character didn't die and he made it through to the end of the story and then died at the end. But yeah, really good story. And I'm interested to see if they do a season 2 or if this is just where it ends here. But yeah, as I said, you all should check it out if you're into spooky seasons now. It's on Netflix now, 7 episodes. Go watch it, give it a look, see if you like it. It may start off a bit slow, but it's really good. Just give it a chance. So yeah, I'll see you all for the next review.